Good morning. The May 7, 2019 meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order, and we are pleased to have with us this morning Michelle Green from the Finance Department to lead us in our invocation. And after the invocation, please remain standing for our pledge to the flag.
Let us pray. Father God, we are so thankful for who you are and for everything that you do for us. I want to thank you mostly for sending your son Jesus to die on the cross for us. I want to thank you that we live in a country where we can elect our officials to conduct the business for our county and for our nation. And Lord, I ask that as this board meets today, that you just guide their every decision, give them wisdom and discernment to make the decisions today and through the course of everyday business that so that the decisions they make would benefit this county as a whole and that would be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, Michelle Green, for being here this morning, leading us in our invocation or with our invocation. And good morning to the citizens of Douglas County. We value your voice and we appreciate your participation in county government. Public comment clerk, I believe you just submitted one name, so I would. We value our citizens' opinions, and the Board of Commissioners respect your right to address this government. Your subject matter today must be germane to the agenda, and you'll be allotted 3 minutes to speak. However, when you hear the buzzer, I ask that you realize that your time has expired, and if you could just wrap up your thoughts. Mr. Larry Pierce, if you could come forth and state your address, and your subject matter is related to number 11. And others, is it number 11 is what you're looking at today, sir? Let me look at it. Tab number 11, Board of Commissioners.
Larry Pierce, 4120 Van Sant Road, Douglasville, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you wait long enough. When I had a tugboat, I had a pillow and it said, if my boat don't come in soon, my dock's gonna rot. Well, I've been waiting a long time, and Madam Chair, for one time I would like to ask your indulgence, because I have something here that is what I've been waiting for and what y'all been waiting for. I just got it from Miss Tammy Howard. It is a document that I got a phone call last night around 11 o'clock saying I should know about it. They hung up. And I'm gonna read just one paragraph.
Mr. Pierce, is it germane to their agenda? It has to be.
Yes, ma'am. This is an announcement that we all been waiting for, and I have got to share my happiness and gratitude. And it says it has been reported to the undersigned that Douglas County Coroner has failed on numerous occasions to perform her duties which are specifically required by law. 13 pages signed by Judge Emerson in the book, and it was just done the 30th of last month. So finally, somebody has heard it, the cry.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. We'll take this matter under advisement. I really appreciate you coming in today. All right, thank you so much. And again, Board of Commissioners, next we have the approval of our minutes. You have before you the Board of Commissioners, the commission minute meetings of April 16, 2019, and the work session minutes of April 15, 2019. Are there any corrections or additions or deletions that need to be made?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Being none, the minutes stand approved as presented. Today we have three proclamations before us, Board of Commissioners. we have tab number 3, which is proclaiming the month of May 2019 as Older Americans Month in Douglas County. And the proclamation will be read by Mrs. Liz Fincher. Ms. Fincher, would you please come forth? So glad you could be here with us today, Ms. Fincher. To read-
Thank you. This is the 48th Annual Senior Citizens Picnic, and I'd just like to say I am proud to have been associated with 45 of those years.
Oh, wow, congratulations. Let's give Ms. Fincher a hand. That's amazing.
Okay. Older Americans Month, May 2019. Whereas each year the President of the United States and the Governor of Georgia proclaim the month of May as a time to honor our older Americans. And whereas the very foundation and strength of our nation is a result of the courage and fortitude of our older Americans. And whereas the state of Georgia has grown and prospered from the creative abilities of the older Americans of Douglas County, and whereas Douglas County has been enriched by the past and present efforts of our older Americans, and whereas the older Americans of Douglas County exemplify the experienced and knowledgeable core of all humanity, be it therefore proclaimed by the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, because of the inspiration received from these our honorable elders, that the month of May 2019 be designated as Older American Month in Douglas County.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Fincher. That is amazing. And our older Americans in this country have paid their dues, and we appreciate everything that our seniors have done. In fact, I'm a senior as well, so I understand. And I call myself a freshman senior, but I'm telling you, I just appreciate all the great things that our seniors are doing here in Douglas County. You all have paved the way for the future of those who are coming behind us. So thank you so much, and I'm telling you, this year we're going to be, our senior center, should I say our senior picnic will be in the conference center.
Right.
We're going to make sure that we serenade and express our love for our seniors here in Douglas County. So thank you so much for reading the proclamation this morning. Board of Commissioners, you have heard Ms. Fincher's proclamation regarding Older Americans Month in Douglas County. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. And congratulations, Mrs. Fincher, for standing up for our seniors of Douglas County. We would like to come down and take a photograph with you this morning. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We're coming down to you.
Okay.
How you doing now?
Again, thank you, Mrs. Fincher, for celebrating Older Americans Month in Douglas County. And we have proclaimed this as a special day in Douglas County for our seniors. Tab number 4. We have, actually, tab number 4 and 5 will be read by our Deputy Chief this morning. Tab number 4 is proclaiming May 20th through the 24th as 2019 EMS Week in Douglas County. And this proclamation will be read by Deputy Chief Zach Meyer. Good morning.
Good morning. Whereas emergency services is a vital public service, and whereas members of the emergency medical service are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, follow-up care, access to telemedicine, and whereas emergency medical service systems consist of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, training members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of the emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Service Week. Now, therefore, we, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th to the 25th, 2019 as Emergency Medical Service Week in Douglas County, and call upon our citizens to pay special tribute to the emergency medical service personnel that contribute to the safety and well-being of our community.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief. You are definitely right about that. The EMS week is very important here in Douglas County because this personnel do contribute to the safety and welfare of our citizens, particularly in those emergency response situations. And this particular group of men and women are responsible a lot of times for saving our lives. So special kudos to them and all the hard work that they do here in Douglas County.
Thank you.
Board of Commissioners, you have heard this proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. There you go. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Congratulations, Deputy Chief. And what I'm going to do this morning is allow you to read the next one. I won't walk us back and forth, and then ask if you would come up and take a photograph with us at the end of this second proclamation. Please, you may proceed, Deputy Chief.
Whereas more than 30 million children receive emergency medical care each year due to illness or injury, and whereas the needs of the children are different than needs of adults in medical emergencies, and whereas the goal of the emergency medical service for children is to help states and communities prepare for medical or traumatic emergencies involving children through the provision of properly training emergency medical personnel. Pediatric-ready emergency departments and well-defined pediatric protocols and procedures also. Whereas emergency medical service for children rely on its established partnership with the emergency medical community, as well as physicians, nurses who prepare pediatric emergency care to help states and communities reduce child, youth, disability, or death due to severe illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical service for children, tens of thousands of EMS workers, providers, and acute care professionals it serves, and the more than 25 professional organizations in which the partners are committed to improving the quality of emergency care received. Whereas it is proper and timely to bring recognition and value and accomplishment of the emergency medical services for children and the dedicated men and women who work tirelessly to improve the quality of pediatric medical care. Now, therefore, Douglas County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the date of May 22nd, 2019, Emergency Medical Service for Children Day in Douglas County as part of National EMS Week and urge all citizens and healthcare professionals to serve the pediatric population to celebrate the EMS Strong Together. To become familiar with EMSC, its programs, activities in our state and nationally, and to support and participate in educational and outreach programs to increase the knowledge of best pediatric medical care practices.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief. The EMS services for our children is very important, and actually, we're getting ready to, we're working on according to Wellstar here in Douglas, looking at a pediatric emergency services for our children here, so that's something that's on the horizon. So this is so appropriate today. Board of Commissioners, you have heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. And congratulations on this so well-deserved proclamation, Deputy Chief. If you could you come up with us to take a photograph?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Still in. All right. Ready? Yep.
Thank you again, Chief Zach Meyer, Deputy Chief Zach Meyer. Appreciate you coming in today. Next, we have a public hearing, which is tab number 6. The public hearing is for an approval of the Connect Douglas Americans with Disabilities Paratransit Plan as a component of fixed route bus service. And Director Watson, Gary Watson, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and Board of Commissioners. As the agenda item states, we're having a public hearing about the paratransit service, which is a required component of our fixed route bus service. Jamal Shepard, our transit services coordinator who oversees the bus service and the paratransit service, is going to lead us in the public hearing this morning. And after we're through with the public hearing, if it's the pleasure of the Board of Commissioners, we would ask that you consider approving the paratransit plan, which is required by the Federal Transit Administration.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm just going to read to you a brief overview of the ADA paratransit plan and allow for any questions if you have. To introduction, our Connect Douglas Paratransit Plan is required by Federal Regulation 49 CFR 6.135. Douglas County considers the answers to our questions as a part of this plan and such adhere to the policy and requirements set forth in these answers. Connect Douglas implemented a fixed route service to operate within boundaries of Douglas County in June of 2019. ADA paratransit service was established as a complementary service to the fixed route service. This plan establishes policies and procedures and how the paratransit service will be operated. What ADA paratransit service is. ADA paratransit is a shared service, curb to curb or door to door, that is available to people with disabilities who are unable or have limited abilities because of their disability to use the fixed route buses. All public transit agencies that provide fixed route bus services are required by ADA to provide this service or equivalent service. As a civil rights statute, ADA emphasizes non-discriminatory access to fixed route service. Complementary ADA paratransit service is intended to serve as a safety net for individuals who, because of their disabilities, are unable to use fixed route services. Our ADA paratransit service area, it operates within our four fixed route transit area and 1 mile outside of our 4 fixed route transit service area. The eligibility for ADA paratransit services include any individual with a disability who is unable, as a result of physical or impairment, including vision impairment, and without the assistance of another individual, except the operator of a wheelchair lift or other board assistant device, to board, ride, or alight from any vehicle on the system which is readily accessible to and usable by individuals with disabilities is eligible for our paratransit services. Connect Douglas paratransit service is available to eligible residents of Douglas County and visitors who reside outside of Douglas County service area jurisdiction, but whose origin and destinations are within our 4-route fixed service. The way to apply for our paratransit services is a 2-part. The client would have to come and get our application. With the first part is a questionnaire in which the client has to fill out completely. The second part of the process has to be filled out by the physician and signed. And then once the client has those documents filled out, bring them back to the transportation center for interview, in-person interview. The days of our operation will be the same as our fixed route, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the cost for these trips would be $1. So once they have been verified to be disabled eligible for our paratransit, the cost to use would be $1. There also would be an ID made for any eligible client. And requesting a trip, the client would have to call into the Douglas County Connect phone number, which is the 770-949-7665. From there, they would get a prompt where they need to be placed to the paratransit to also make and schedule their trips. The reservations are accepted up to 7 days in advance from the date of the trip. On days prior to a service day on which the administrative offices are not open, Sunday or prior to a Monday service day, Connect Douglas accepts voicemail reservations for the next day only. And in reference to the trips, once you make your trips, it's only for the destination in which you schedule on that day. You can't board the bus and be able to make other trips or ask the driver to stop at alternate stops. All right, so thank you for allowing me to give you a brief overview, just if you have any questions.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, do you have any questions regarding the paratransit? Okay.
During the hearing, right?
None at this time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Director Watson, did you have any further comment before I open this public hearing?
No, ma'am, at this time, we'd just like to see if there's any questions from the audience about the service. And I will say this, that we're already taking applications for the paratransit service and also for the discount card service for the fixed route service. And any individual who wants more information about either one of those services, please call the Transportation Center at the main number 770-949-7665. There's also information about this on our website, connectdouglas.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Director Watson. This public hearing is now open. Do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of the paratransit fixed route system, or should I say the American with Disabilities Paratransit Plan for our fixed route system? Okay, anyone here to speak against the paratransit fixed route system? With that being said, this public hearing is now closed. I need you, if you could, Jamal, if you could come back up, please. Board of Commissioners, certainly this is an opportunity for you all to ask questions regarding this paratransit plan component, if you have any questions at this time. Vice Chairman Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you both for being here. First, I want to say I'm encouraged about, one more time, mobility options that are available to the public. This one I can relate to very directly. I just got back from Savannah, and I have to cross the street at night. Daylight's going down, sun's coming down. How do I get across? Right? Of course, they have the 15, 14, 13, 12, right? But think about on Riverside. Now I'm going to get on a fixed route bus system. How do I cross Riverside with 40 cars going mile an hour when I'm trying to get across Riverside? So for those citizens who may be challenged, either with disability or impairment as stated, this is invaluable to them. Everybody doesn't have the options that a Board of Commissioner may have. This is something I advocate because I can relate to it directly. And I think this is something very important, and the federal government made it very clear to take this money, to accept this broader money. This is a requirement of the fixed route. So the fixed route, think about it, it's dynamic because it's not just one flavor. It's just not people who just get on the bus and is going around on sort of what they say, a party line, a party bus. This is very serious. It's about mobility for citizens to allow them to get from here to there. It's flexible enough to allow, like, we'll come to you door to door, wherever you've got to go. And I'm encouraged by this because there's more need out there than people are aware of. If we know from what our study told, it's about 10,000 various needs, whether it's people who have no car, those people who are disabled. I can go down the list for seniors. It's a big enough population of people. And I think that, the totality of all the offerings that we currently have, Madam Chair, both from the four that currently is being offered by our transportation services, plus this fixed route, the flex associated with it, and now paratransit, it gives options to citizens on a number of levels. So I'm very encouraged by that. Obviously, I'll pay very close attention to it to make sure it meets the needs, and those who may not even be aware, who don't follow DC 23, or who may not get this type of communication, or it's not on our website, or don't follow Twitter. Let's make sure that they're aware that this is out there. So that's my question. What plan do you make? What are your plans to communicate to those individuals who actually have a need, who can't come to a town hall, who can't do that? How are you communicating with them to make them available? That's the only question.
Yes, sir. As it has been done, we've sent out the mail piece, the mail flyers, to the citizens of Douglas County to also advise them, other than the media, the website, as you stated earlier. And as far as I know, there will be a second piece for mail flyers that's supposed to be going out right around in June or just before June to get to the citizens by June 3rd, if not at a later date.
Right, so we've got,
Let me
Please
respond to
clarify
that
that,
a little
yeah.
more, please. We're having a series of public meetings about the paratransit plan where we're actually going out to locations to tell seniors and disabled about this service. We've been to the senior center on Fairburn Road. We've been to Woody Fight. We held a meeting at the transportation center, and other members of our staff are actually going to locations like the Fowler Senior Complex, some of the dialysis clinics. So we're not asking them to come to us to get this information. We're taking it to them.
and that's what I wanted to get to. Again, sometimes we're in our own world, and the world doesn't really rotate like that. I'm thinking about DFACS. I'm thinking about the Community Service Board building. where there's a lot of services. So think about those populations. And again, you don't have to go over your marketing plan here, but for the record, let's make sure we cover those areas that we know population of people are coming to get their needs met. They're focused on getting their needs met, and they don't really follow this type of day-to-day. You got me, Gary?
Yes,
Can we add that to the list?
Yes, sir.
I just want to emphasize that, Madam Chair, but I'm encouraged by what I hear, and I yield the floor.
Okay. Any other comment from the Board of Commissioners? Commissioner Guider?
Yes, and this is to Gary. This fixed route and the 1 mile beyond that just serves a very small part of our population. Is there anything being considered for Dial-A-Ride that will address every disabled person in the county?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's been my pledge throughout this whole process that once we get the fixed route service up and running, we will immediately start looking at Dial-A-Ride and what it's going to take to implement that.
And that would
is
be
the next-
anybody in the county
Yes,
that
ma'am.
has a disability, they could call and make a
Well, it
reservation
won't be just for disability, it will
It'd be
be for
for-
anybody.
to ride the
Yes,
bus.
ma'am.
Very good. That's what I had advocated for. Okay, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Any other comment? Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, Gary, just a couple here. So let me ask, so with these routes that we're speaking of, for instance, using a dialysis, going to a dialysis treatment, you'll take them there. First, you'll come to their home or door to door and pick them up, take them there, and then will they also get that transport back to their home?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yeah, they would have to schedule that as 2 trips, but yes,
Understood.
sir, we would take them there and pick them up.
got it. So that you will get them there and back. Okay,
Yes.
which is good. That's good. I will just verify that. Will this also increase our routes, or because now this is outside of the routes that we've got, our standard routes that we're looking at approving or moving forward with those routes? This is an addition to?
No, sir, it's not an addition to.
Okay.
The way the paratransit and the flex works is that we can deviate anywhere within 1 mile off of the route to
Got
pick
it.
the individual up.
Got it. So when they're making their routes, whichever bus it is, it needs to deter or make a right turn or two to get to this person, to get them to, but will they have to stay on that same route to complete the route, the normal route, or would it be pick them up, divert your route, pick this door-to-door person up, get them to dialysis, then go back to your route? I mean, I'm a little.
The paratransit service is direct. You would go pick the individual up and then take them to their destination.
But that would alter the route that you're on, though, correct? Or am I not?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, Jamal's got.
Okay, Jamal, help me out with that so I can.
Yes, sir, Commissioner. As Mr. Gary was stating, the paratransit is going to be specific to that type of service, but that person doesn't have to necessarily only take paratransit. So paratransit, you will call, schedule both of your trips.
Got
Your
it.
trip to dialysis and from dialysis.
Got it.
That's the only direction in which that route or that bus will take you.
Okay, so it won't be, I'm on, the bus is on.
Fixed routes, no, sir.
Exactly, okay,
Right. And then
okay.
that person that made that call for the dialysis, it's going to be a shared ride. So that means there may be other riders on that bus as well.
Okay.
Going to their destination.
Got it. So this will be an additional bus, possibly?
Correct. It's a separate service that we're going to have from the 4 fixed routes that's going to be going throughout the county throughout the whole day, from
Make
6
a-
a.m. to 8 p.m.
Makes a whole lot more sense, because
Yes,
for a
sir.
moment I was going to say you're going on one route and you're going to
Right.
divert that. No.
Yeah,
Okay.
In regards to that, now we are going to offer that service for Flex Route.
Okay.
Let's say if you wanted to, you couldn't get up to the route or any one of our routes. You couldn't make it, so you call and you say, "Will you schedule this within 2 hours of that trip that I need to go to Walmart?" So the bus will deviate within a mile off that route, pick you up, come back on, and like you asked, yes, it will get back on that trip and continue on.
Got it.
Going to Walmart.
Okay, that's
Yes, sir,
fine.
on the fixed route.
Got it. Now, how do I qualify, or anybody that would need these types of service? What determines the qualifications?
Yes, sir. Now, for the fixed route, anyone can ride. Now,
Oh, yeah,
for-
I got
for
that.
the-
I got
okay.
that, yeah.
And then for the paratransit, again, anyone with a disability that, precludes them to getting to the fixed route services.
Got it. And it needs to be signed off from what I heard.
Yes, it's a two-part process in which the client has to fill out the first part of the application, questionnaires, and then the second part would have to be filled out by that treating physician and signed, and then you would call or come back to the transportation center for your in-person interview.
And there's, I'm assuming, a list of he or she needs to have to kind of qualify for this type of service.
Well, it's basically whatever their disability is, and their certifying physician states that their disability, which precludes them to using our fixed route service, that's basically is going to be it. And as long as the documents are filled out completely, yes, sir. Those are only qualifications.
And I won't get into all the details of what that may or may not be, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around kind of what would that consist of. I mean, if somebody, I guess, just having dialysis treatment would qualify versus somebody just going and give blood, have a possible, they need to go and do their blood test this month.
Correct. If it's, given in that, one we might want to use, if you're just going to give blood, you may want to try to use the fixed
doing a blood
route.
test.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
just doing the fixed route. But if it's anything like the dialysis where, you can't get to the fixed route because after your services, you're kind of drawing your entire, well, you would
Okay.
need that direct service to take you back home. Now, in order to get that, of course, that person would already have the proper documentations from their physician, which states that they are not able or eligible to use our fixed route, and then they'll be eligible for our paratransit. So those processes, once again, if they can't come to us, and we'll go out and they would bring them back to our transportation
Got
center
it.
and
And
do the interview
And
there.
I'm assuming this will be a case by case, and then the
Yes.
physician has to actually kind of approve or disapprove or say you can or can't, or
Yes.
we'll accept that. Okay.
Yes, sir, based on documentation turned in.
Got it. Okay. So you answered my question, so I think we're good. I'll yield back, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other questions before I move on? Board of Commissioners, you have heard the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve the Connect Douglas Americans with Disabilities Paratransit Plan?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. So congratulations on the paratransit component, and really excited about the new Connect Douglas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
You're
Commissioners.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Board of Commissioners, you all received something on your email this morning, and Commissioner Robinson, Vice Chairman Robinson, will enlighten us as he called for a motion.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to call for a motion to add something to new business, and it is, I'm going to have the clerk read this into the record, but it's for adding a new contract for doing due diligence on our Foxhall project. County Clerk, can you read this?
Yeah, hold on just 1 second.
Yeah. We're making a motion. It's not officially written, so it needs to be officially read.
Okay, this is to authorize the chairman to sign the engagement letter of Murray Barnes Finister LLP, Sheridan Bernard PC, to conduct legal review and analysis of the proposed bond issues and proposed intergovernmental contracts proposed by the Development Authority related to the Foxhall for a total fee of $15,000.
Madam Chair, as officially read into the record by our county clerk, I make the motion to be added to new business.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve to add a new business item to the agenda regarding an engagement letter for Murray Barnes, Pfister, and LLP, Sherrod and Bernard, to conduct a legal review and analysis of the proposed bond issues? Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Commissioner. Madam.
When was the email sent out? I'm sorry, because I didn't check my email this morning.
Do you have, clerk, do you have an idea of when the email went out? Exactly what time? Mark? I'm sorry, County Administrator.
I'm looking, the email I'm looking at is the one that I forwarded this morning, so it's not the original, so I'm looking.
Okay.
Well, and what, I don't understand what this is for. I thought we just paid $15,000 to Mr. Corbin. Is this something different than that?
Okay. Vice
Madam
Chairman,
Chair?
please.
Yeah, it's just for the clarity, right now, the motion is to discuss, to put it on the agenda, to discuss for new business. So,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
let's just solve that first, and once we add it to, then we can discuss it. Remember, this is a formal voting meeting, so there's a rule, so, Madam
Yes.
Chair, you have to call the question.
County Administrator, do you have a response?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
The email was sent from Kim Bernard yesterday at 5:49 PM.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please, please indicate by raising your right hand, yes or no, if you, yeah. We have a motion and a second.
To add it to the agenda.
To add. Yeah, we have a motion and a second to add. So we have a 5-0 unanimous vote. So we are adding this item as a new business. Now it is a new business item. Okay, Board of Commissioners, we have a new business item added. Now, the item is to authorize the chairman to sign the engagement letter of Maury, Barnes, Finster, LLP Sherrod and Bernard, PC, to conduct a legal review and analysis of the proposed bond issues and proposed intergovernmental contracts proposed by the Development Authority related to Foxhall for a total fee of $15,000. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? And Commissioner Guider, I know you had a question.
Well, how is this different than what we just paid Mr. Corbin to do? I don't know who to address that to. Legal or Mark?
Legal.
Okay.
Legal counsel, please
Well, let me
respond.
just tell you let me tell you the history, if I can, so you can decide whether you want to move to the next step or not. Approximately a month ago, Jennifer Hallman and reached out to us at the request of the chairman of the Finance Committee to determine what steps would be necessary if after the financial review, this board wanted to take a legal review of all the stuff that was talked about yesterday that took hours to talk about. And so we came up with a price to do that from both a macro and micro level, which would include not only reviewing the lease intergovernmental agreement, but we'd be talking to Piper, Jeffrey, UBS, and the people that came yesterday in Marriott, and also reviewing the commitment letter from Marriott for the West End Resort. And so we gave a price for that if it got to the next step. Yesterday afternoon, after yesterday's long meeting, I was asked, what does that look like? And so we forwarded the engagement agreement to Mark to review, and the chairman of the Finance Committee, and I think the chairman to review if you want to take the next step. What's different is what David Corbin at Terminus did was a financial review of what the dollars mean. What this would be a very broad and particular review about the structures that are being proposed, the tax consequences, and the legality of both the structure and the financing itself. Terminus did not comment on the legality of what's being proposed. Terminus only commented on what the effect of those numbers meant. So essentially what we've been asked is, on a $145 million transfer of taxpayer wealth, what would it cost for us to review that from A to Z, and what's the time frame? I told Jennifer Hallman, as well as the chairman of the Finance Committee, Commissioner Robinson, it would take about 2 weeks. And so I suppose this is being forwarded so that we can be ready to comment when y'all take this up, if y'all are going to take it up.
So this is to look at the contracts involving the whole thing of Foxhall, right?
Well, the whole thing that's being proposed, and I would say this, that as David commented yesterday, he hadn't seen every single document because some of them are in draft forms and some are moving. We're going to dig to get down to what is the actual language that's being proposed. For instance, yesterday there was an issue about whether or not in the IGA, the lease and the infrastructure was having to be maintained by a governmental entity or the WSA or us or who. That's the kind of dive we're going to make on this in the next 2 weeks if you decide to move forward.
And who is this firm? Is it one firm?
Well, it's both my firm and Murray Barnes Fenster. Murray Barnes Fenster is our TAN counsel, who also teaches at ACCG development issues that we're talking about, including the lease structure. One of the questions that came up yesterday was, can you have a 99-year lease that is supported by taxpayer funds and those kind of things? So I would say it's really getting bifurcated. They're looking at the financial structures. We're looking at the structure of the deal itself together. And it's one fee that's being split between the two firms.
I'm sorry I did not read the email. If you sent it out yesterday, we worked here till 4.
Yeah.
4:30.
No, I didn't send it out.
I didn't go home and get on my computer
Well,
right away.
I didn't send it out to the full board. I sent it out at the request of the finance chairman to him and the chairman and Mark in case it came up today, if y'all wanted to take these next steps to have this reviewed or not.
So it wasn't sent to us? Is that-
No, ma'am, it
Oh,
wasn't.
okay. That's why I look surprised, everybody. All right, I yield back.
Okay, all right, thank you. Vice Chairman Robinson?
Yeah, let me back this up. For doing proper due diligence on any deal of this magnitude, you've got to have two lenses. The plan forward for reviewing the Foxhall consideration was laid out in the Finance Committee. There was always a financial and a legal, and they both ran parallel. Based on the request by the applicant vis-a-vis the Development Authority, they were asking one more time for a May 6th and 7th decision. This was in our last Finance Committee meeting. I said, there's no way our commissioners will be able to do that. What our purpose was, well, let's do this. Let's put the finance first, give them 2 weeks head start, and then we'll bring legal 2 weeks thereafter. That has been communicated. That was submitted to our clerk, be put on the agenda for this particular meeting. All right, this is not like last night. Pull the paper record. This should have already been on the agenda as a next step. All right, so let's move that out of the way. You've got a financial review and you've got a legal review, and they've got to run parallel. The same thing we went with the SPLOST. This is nothing new. Right? We had both sets of firms. You had Corbin that took us to Wall Street. This is nothing new. We're guaranteeing bonds of consideration, guys. You got to make sure you know what you're signing up for. So in other words, does the math work, and even the action you're taking, is it even legal? We need those questions answered. Right? You can't perpetrate like we know we're not. I mean, I'm not an attorney, and so therefore I need certain questions answered about, well, can we really do it that way? And what did Water Sewer Authority really do? We don't know those answers yet, and they weren't quite packaged in a way that we could conclude that. So now legal has to go in there and like, okay, Ken, you got to make sure we don't get in trouble with this. They're selling us one thing, but all they're trying to do is lure us into this notion of agreeing to sign off on this financing, but let's make sure the legal is solid. So that's what this is about. We're not amateurs in looking at this. They put up $3 million against our basically $30,000. Right? We're spending $30,000 in due diligence. 15 for the financial side, 15 for the legal side against their $3 million that they've done this far to bring it to. I think we can hold our own against that. But it's important that we get the questions answered so we can make a proper decision. And so that's what this was about. It was just the next natural step. Again, come May 20th and 21st, it's literally up or down. All questions will be answered. We'll have all the financial pretty much laid out by then. We'll have all the legal laid out. There is no pending legal review. That day, up or down. And that is the goal of this. Again, as was mentioned by Commissioner Mitchell, we're on plan B, C, and it definitely probably will not be a D. This is it. So let's just finish the work. Let's be professional about this. And I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, any other comments? Commissioner Carthen?
So Ken, is it my understanding that once you and the other firm do the review of this deal, so to speak, that we will have all the information we need to put this to bed?
We plan on doing a memorandum that goes through the entire structure so that you have a legal response to what's being proposed. What I have not been told to do is negotiate, not find other type structures, but simply evaluate the proposal that's on the table. That's what our response will be, if that makes sense.
And that's fine. What I want to know is, once this is done, that we don't have to spend any more money to give a yay or nay vote. Because the information that we received yesterday, at least from my understanding, I could have made my vote yesterday. But I do understand that there are legal ramifications and that we should understand those and know those before we do an up or down vote.
Sure.
But I just want to be certain that we're not just spinning our wheels and they keep coming back to the table.
Right.
Because this is a waste of our time and, to me, the taxpayers' money.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. I think the chairman of the Finance Committee's goal is to make it a yay or nay vote on that day. So we plan on giving you a memorandum as to the legal consequences of what's being proposed and whether they're legal. What I can't tell you is whether the Development Authority or somebody else may come back later with some other proposals, but we're not negotiating with them. We're simply reviewing what they are proposing and nailing it down for y'all and making comment on that, if that makes sense.
Okay. I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. All right, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please, can we cast our votes? Please indicate by raising your right hand. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5. It's a unanimous vote, and the motion carries. So this is the final sequel of this long time, I call it agony, that's been really something that has been knocking at the doors of Douglas County. And we want to, again, I echo Commissioner Carthen, we want to put this to rest after our vote on the 21st. All right. Well, Board of Commissioners, we had a unanimous vote on this item, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items, please keep in mind, are subject to final legal review. Tab number 7, authorization to combine the 2 part-time magistrate deputy clerk positions to 1 full-time magistrate deputy clerk position. Tab number 8, authorization to approve the preliminary plat for villages at Brookmont Pod F2 and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 9, authorization to approve a claim for a property tax credit for Tuscany Hotel LLC in the amount of $33,752.63 as recommended by the Board of Assessors. Tab number 10, authorization to accept the ACCG Group Health Benefits Program Health Promotion Grant in the amount of $3,000 and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents and amend the budget. Tab number 11, authorization to approve a car allowance agreement for Rachel Ackley, Assistant District Attorney, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 12, authorization to approve the annual agreement for tourism product development between Douglas County, Georgia, and the Tourism and History Commission, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 13, authorization to approve the annual agreement to promote tourism, conventions, and trade shows between Douglas County and the Douglas County Chamber of Commerce, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 14, authorization to approve the annual agreement for tourism product development between Douglas County, Georgia, and the Cultural Arts Council of Douglasville and Douglas County, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 15, authorization to execute a new contract with Ichi or Uchi, formerly Tidbit, due to the organization's name change, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 16, authorization to approve a transit services contract with Transitions Commute Solutions LLC in the amount not to exceed $2 million annually, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 17, authorization to accept the award for the Federal Transit Administration Grant GA 2019-005-00 in the amount of $2 million with a local match of $400,000 for the first year operations of Connect Douglas Fixed Route Bus Service, and authorize the chairman to sign all required documents. Tab number 18, authorization to allow the Tourism Department to file to incorporate a nonprofit 501c6 organization as Douglas County Travel and Tourism as the official destination marketing organization, DMO, for the purpose of receiving hotel motel tax revenues in the compliance with the Department of Community Affairs. Tab number 19, authorization to accept a check from Jeff Dobson and Associates Auction Company in the amount of $24,817.50 for proceeds from the auction of abandoned property and placed in the general fund. Tab number 20, authorization to reject any bids submitted for the metal building at the Douglas County Fire Department Training Complex and refine the scope of work and rebid the project as recommended by the Fire and EMS Committee. Tab number 21, authorization to purchase the furnishings for the Station 3 Bill Arp Splost renovation project in the amount of $15,000 to be funded by the 2016 Splost funds as recommended by the Fire and EMS Committee. Tab number 22, authorization to approve a supplemental agreement number 1 in the amount of $8,200 with the Southeastern Engineering Incorporation in connection with engineering services for sidewalks near Lithia Springs Elementary School, Chestnut Log Middle School, and New Manchester High School project for additional analysis and design for the pedestrian crossing signal to be funded by the 2016 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Board of Commissioners, you have heard the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any particular item
Madam Chair.
under the consent agenda? Vice Chairman Robinson.
Number 16 and 17, Director Watson. Again, just for the official record, because of the magnitude and the dollar amount we're talking about, and one more time, just put them two together and speak for the public for me.
We're receiving a grant from the Federal Transit Administration in the amount of $1.6 million, which will require a $400,000 local match. This is for operating assistance for the first year of the fixed route bus service and paratransit service. This is a renewable grant for 2 additional years.
2 additional years. And I know this has been a long time coming at the end of the day. In the event that expenses are above and beyond $2 million, is it capped? Or if it's beyond that, how do we reconcile that? I know the answer, but I want you to say it for the record.
Well, per contract, it's capped at $2 million. Expenses, that includes our payments to the contractor and costs directly related that will be directly paid by Douglas County, such as fuel and repairs and maintenance on the vehicles.
Okay, and we property budgeted for this
Yes.
to come online. So this is related. We're going to get $2 million to operate this. Are we prepared? Do we have our buses ready? Do we have our bus stops? I mean, we're accepting some money. That means that they're assuming that we're ready to go. Can you just give a quick, where are we at?
Well, we're ready to go, and I will make this announcement that I'm excited to make that if the contract with Transitions Commute Solutions is approved today, we're ready to announce our launch date for the fixed route bus service and the paratransit service as Thursday, June the 20th.
Thursday, June 20th is the official day that the buses will start. Is that what you just said?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Assuming pending.
A launch party on Wednesday, June 19th, and the bus service starts the next day on June the 20th.
Okay. And so that goes into the holiday weekend. Okay, got it. And how much is the cost to ride the bus again?
The standard basic fare is $2.50. Seniors, disabled, and students have a discount fare of $1.
Okay. Right.
Pardon me, Commissioner. It would be my request also that as we get ready to start the service, I would ask that the commissioners consider having basically a 2-week free period for individuals to ride from the launch date on June 20th through the 4th of July holiday on June the 5th. So basically during that period, we would ask that no fares be charged. This would be our opportunity to let all citizens ride the bus, get familiar with how to operate the service, how to get on, how to ride, how to get from one point to the other, and just another part of our marketing strategy for the bus service.
No, I appreciate that. That's sufficient enough for me, Madam Chair. I yield back. Thank you, Gary. Thank you for all the work that you've done regarding us to get to this point. We're almost there. Not quite, but almost there, and it's been a lot of work. And again, just for the voting record, we do appreciate what you've done for the county. Thank you.
If I may, Justin Risen, CEO of Transitions Commute Solutions, is here this morning, and he has some members of his team that will be working directly on the Douglas County project. And if commissioners will allow me, I'd like to bring Justin forward to where he can introduce members of his team.
Yes, please come forth, Justin and your team. We would love to meet everyone this morning so we can gain a better understanding of who's going to be working to move Douglas County forward.
Good morning.
Good morning, Justin.
We're obviously very excited to be here today and introduce you to some of the team, some faces you've seen before. Debbie is one of our executive staff members. She'll be taking one of the lead roles of overseeing the contract from the transitions executive staff of the House. Day-to-day leadership, the hiring process, the training practices that we'll be using. Ellie is our manager that she's actually in Griffin. She's been here from the very beginning. She's been riding our vehicles around, the buses, making sure that the routes are on time, that they're accessible, that they're usable for our patrons, that we'll be riding the routes. And really has spent many, many hours on the roads here. So she knows these roads as well as any local individual here. And Marcus Manning is our first local selection. He is going to be our general manager. We've been speaking with him for about 3.5, 4 months now, and he's been extremely patient. Marcus has a very good, solid background in transportation, both in logistics and staff management. And we're very excited that he's going to be part of our team as we launch this program.
Oh, very good. Thank you all so much. And I would like each one of you all to come up. Marcus, Ellie, and I got your name. Just say a few words, and we're excited about this new intermodal system here in Douglas County. Just tell us what your plans are, how you're going to make us great.
Good morning. My name is Marcus Manning. I said I'm the general manager for this location. Our goal is to provide the best customer service, or what I like to call extreme customer service, to our patrons in the Douglasville area. We want to come in and establish, great customer service, and we welcome everybody's feedback as well. The one thing that I always say, we want to have braggingly happy customers. And what I mean by braggingly happy customers is that, they go out and they kind of, brag on the work that we're doing. And we welcome those, braggingly comments. But we want to establish ourselves. We want to do a great job for the city of Douglasville.
Okay, thank you so much, Marcus, as the general manager. I believe Ellie, did I have it right there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I just wanted to say I've had a lot, I've really enjoyed working on this project. And even though I'm in the Griffin office, I've put a lot of work into it. So I definitely am excited for it to take off the ground, and I hope it works out. So I'll be available to help as needed. So I'm very excited that it's going forth. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just state your name again.
Debbie Osbach.
Debbie, there you go. Debbie, please.
Again,
tell us.
I'll repeat that we are extremely excited to bring this transportation option to the citizens of Douglas County. It's been a tremendous pleasure to work with both Gary and Jamal to get this running. And we're just chomping at the bit to come in and start training our drivers. We've got tremendous reaction and response from all the people in Douglas County to come in and both work and ride, and we just can't wait to get started. Our company cares very, very deeply about providing this option, and it comes from our leader, Justin, and I think you'll see that from day one, and we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Ellie, Debbie, and Marcus, thank you so much. And Justin, did you just want to close out what your plans are? I know you're excited, and we are too.
I'm very excited. And from a plans point of view, I've heard a lot of discussion. I've talked with a lot of people in the community, and transit is looked at in a lot of different ways. A personal story I'd like to share real quick. When my daughter was 2, we found out she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And as most parents, when their children receive news like that, you don't necessarily see it as a blessing. 10 years from that date, I received the exact same diagnosis. And when I came home from the doctor, I remember my 12-year-old daughter then telling me, "What's wrong, Dad?" And I told her, "Guess what? I'm type 1 like you are." And she said, "Oh, good. I thought there was something wrong with you." My point in that, my point of that story is public transportation is very similar. Sometimes people see it as just a want. Others see it as a need. But it's a blessing that we're going to add to this community. And there are people that have yet to determine that it's a blessing that they need. Today they might not need it, but tomorrow they potentially will. And I'm very excited to be part of this team, to have a group of individuals both in the community as well working with us that are going to absolutely care about the community and the needs that we need to provide. Because again, we're here to be there for the wants. There are people that are going to want this program, but there's also people that need it. And whether they need it today or they need it tomorrow, we're going to create a program that is accessible, usable, clean, and safe for the community of Douglas. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin, and the entire team. We look forward to what you're going to bring to Douglas County. We know it's going to be exciting times. And thank you so much, Director Watson and Jamal, for your stellar presentation and all the hard work that you've done. I sat back and watched. It's not been an easy task, and we are looking forward to great things happening real soon. And I plan to ride to see what it's all about. So the Board of Commissioners, I would like for all of us to have an opportunity to ride some of the routes with you, and I know you all will make that possible for us. All right, well, thank you so much again. All right, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second regarding our consent agenda. Do we have a motion and a second, please? Commissioner Guider, I'm so sorry.
Item. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Are you finished, Commissioner?
Yeah, I've already yielded.
You yield,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Commissioner,
And I just wanted to make a comment about the item number 20, where we're rejecting any and all bids that were submitted for the metal building at the Douglas County Fire Department Training Complex. We're going to relook at the scope of the work. We're probably going to reduce the scope of the work because the bids came in way over what we estimated them to be. So we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. We can't spend money we don't have, so, and with that, I yield.
okay, Deputy Chief, if you could just come forward and just talk about this reduction in the scope of work. I'm just interested, just curious. And I know Commissioner Guider is our chairman of the Fire and EMS, and I just when you reduce it, can you tell me what y'all planning to scale back? Or
We have many
tell
options.
Citizens.
We can scale back what's included in the building, in the structure itself. There were some clarifications. We talked to some of the folks that bid on it, that they were confused about a couple different areas of the bid itself. And I think if we better explain what we want, that price will come down some too.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Very well. I appreciate your response. I understand now. So you just some things with inside the building, some of the
yes, ma'am.
furnishings, resources,
It's
roof,
just a
whatever.
basic metal building to store fire equipment and stuff in. So some of the stuff maybe we can value engineer, so to speak. And,
Okay.
all right?
All right. Thank you so much, Deputy
Thank you.
Chief. Appreciate everything you do. Board of Commissioners, any other comments before I call? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. The consent agenda is approved, Board of Commissioners. Next, we have our announcements. Our announcements would be read by our own Rick Martin, our Director of Communications. I'm trying to see, as you come forward, I just want to make sure any particular announcements from our Board of Commissioners. Any commissioner, you have any announcements?
I will when he
Commissioner,
finishes.
okay, you can go first, Commissioner
Okay,
Guider. Yes, please.
For District 4, I am trying to put together a town hall because of the large turnout that we have in District 4. We've outgrown Dog River Library, so I'm looking for the location, and then I'll be getting the word out as soon as I lock in the date and the location. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Speaking of a large turnout, Commissioner Carthen had quite a large turnout for her first town hall meeting. Commissioner Carthen, you want to just comment a little bit about your meeting?
Sure. The citizens of District 3 came out on April 23rd and packed the house. I only put out 50 seats, but we had over 100 people to sign in, and they beat up on Miguel a little bit, but he took it well. They really wanted great information that he gave about the sidewalk project, and they also wanted to know about the widening of Chapel Hill Road. So these were all great feedback that we got from the constituents. We even had a deputy to come in and share with them about the security on Chapel Hill Road and about the school zones and speeding and those types of things. So it was well attended, great information, and if there's anyone else who would like to sign up for my newsletter, they can do so at tcarthan@douglas.ga.gov.us. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield.
Okay, thank you so much. And I believe Vice Chairman Robinson, you had an announcement as well.
Just to piggyback, just for those citizens who are not aware, Lee Road has begun to be resurfaced, which is very, very important from a communication perspective. We've never historically done that, to notify the public, to let them know when we have major corridors, but I've already seen, as came in this morning, they're already laying down it on one side, and I'm very pleased at the progress they're making already on that strip. And secondly, as important as relates to traffic, I'm sure some of you might have experienced the traffic this morning from 61. We had a pretty fatal accident out by Villa Rica out west, coming east. We also had slowdown right there by Six Flags. One of the things we know that was just recently announced by GDOT is I-20 flyover interchange is going to be rebuilt, multi-billion-dollar project in essence, billion-dollar activity. And they're looking at probably over the next 3 years. I mean, this is something that's so needed for the west side. I mean, you see so much going up on 75 north. You see 400 being rebuilt. You see I-285. You even see 75 down there as far as the reversible lanes. But I-20 going west has pretty much been like we're the last to be sort of addressed. And so this is a long time coming. We know how the sun going and coming has an impact on traffic, so we're delighted to see that as an announcement. You guys should look out. I'm sure, Rick, you'll put some information out there from GDOT as far as specifics and how that's going to impact us. Madam Chair, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Mitchell, do you have anything? I know you said if you bring the coffee, if they bring the conversation, do you have anything? He's good. Okay, well, Rick, you're on.
Yes, ma'am. In reference to Vice Chairman Robinson, GDOT informed us that the I-20 resurfacing project could begin as early as this weekend, maybe Sunday night or Monday because it's Mother's Day. But definitely, they're looking at this weekend. So that was from a phone call.
That's in addition to, good.
Yeah.
Super. In addition to any additional announcements we have, just a few. I want to let the public know that the Great Douglas County Shredding event is happening again here at the courthouse on Saturday, May 11th from 9 a.m. to noon. And for those who aren't aware of the address to the courthouse, it's 8700 Hospital Drive. Motorists can just come in, stay in their vehicles, hand their documents right by the 4 trucks that we will have, shredding trucks, and have their items shredded in front of them. On May 11th, again, the Douglas County Animal Services and Douglas County Humane Society will be hosting a rabies vaccination clinic at the Animal Services building located at 2171 Mack Road here in Douglasville. Local veterinarians will be administering rabies vaccinations for cats and dogs for a cost of $10. That's for each vaccination. And it's happening from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. They can contact Francis McMillan at 770-942-5961. Director McMillan is excited for this to occur. We've had a number of rabies alerts communicated to the public, so just wanted to make sure dog owners, pet owners are aware of this event happening on May 11th. The Douglas County Department of External Affairs now accepting applications for the County Citizens Academy that's happening through May 15th. Citizens should be informed it's a 10-week interactive program offered once a year that encourages civic engagement and enhances dialogue between county officials and citizens as well. All are welcome to contact Director of External Affairs at 770-920-7593. Also, citizens of Douglas County are invited to the 17th Annual Family Fun Day Catfish Rodeo at Sweetwater Creek State Park. This is hosted by State Representative Roger Bruce, happening on Saturday, May 18th. That's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All are invited to enjoy free fishing, food, games, music, and loads of fun. And last but not least, the Douglas County Department of External Affairs, the Sheriff's Office, and Georgia Department of Community Supervision will be hosting a forum for the Stepping Up Initiative's National Month of Action. This is happening on May 21st of this year at 10 a.m. in Citizens Hall. The forum will focus on how Douglas County is working to reduce the mentally ill population in our jails. For more information, the public's invited to contact Ms. Tiffany Stewart Stanley, and all of this information will be on celebratedouglascounty.com. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, Director Martin. Appreciate you delivering our communication for today. Board of Commissioners, if there's nothing else to come before this board, this body, this meeting is adjourned.
No recess.
Planning and zoning meeting this evening. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to go in recess?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have recess into this evening at 6 o'clock for our planning and zoning meeting. I'll see you then. Yeah.